Hey guys, Mr. T here. This is a video on markup. So retail stores sell items to the public but don't generally make the items they sell. So what the retail store is doing is generally buying the item from a wholesaler. We'll talk about that a bit more in pricing structures, and then sells the items to the product at a higher price so that they can make a profit. So they're just in the middle there. They're not making anything. They're buying something from other people and then selling it a bit more than that, and they're making the money that the retailer is making is that little bit more on top. So this profit that they're making, that little bit more on top, is known as the markup. Now in Australia, the marked price, the thing that you see in the price tag, we see in the store shelves, that actually includes the 10% goods and services tax, the GST. In America, it's a bit different. The price tags that you see in the shelves does not include their version of the goods and services tax. So at the counter, a lot of the time, what you're paying is a bit more than what it said in the price tag. We've got a better system here where it saves us having to do an extra calculation ourselves. So the retailer, what they do is collect the 10% GST the customer has paid, and then passes it on to the ATO, which is the Australian Tax Office. So in the end, what we are paying is the price of the item that the retailer paid to get on their shelves for, plus however much they're making on top of that, plus 10% of all of that as a GST. So, percentages. Why are we talking percentages? For all these markup calculations we need to do, and including the discount calculations we need to do very soon, you need to understand how to convert a percentage to a decimal. You need to be able to use the decimal to find what constitutes a percentage of a number, so finding what is something percent of a different number, so what is actually 5% of 100? Well, it's 5. You need to be able to do that for any sort of numbers. And the last little key to that is remembering that multiplication in maths basically means of. So, to help you with that, we'll do some examples. So for an example here, an item's bought by a store for $100. The store adds a 20% markup for profit. What would the price be excluding GST? So ignoring GST, what would the price be? The other word for that is GST exclusive price. So the first thing we need to work out is what the 20% markup is. They're making 20% on top of the $100. So we're trying to answer A here. 20% as a decimal is equal to 0.2. How did I get that? You jump the decimal twice to the left. You divide by 100 and put it there. So 0.2 is a decimal representing 20%. I want to find 20% of 100. I just told you above the multiplication means of. So 20%, 0.2 of $100. And if you had a calculator, you would be able to find that that is $20. So what would the price be excluding GST? The GST exclusive price is going to be $120. Okay. Next, B. What would the marked price be for the customer? So we quickly discussed above that the marked price, what we pay, is going to be the price of the item plus the markup, and then 10% of that as a GST. So we have worked out what the price of the item was plus the markup here, the GST exclusive price. We just need to work out what that is plus the 10% GST. So 10% is equal to 0.1. So 0.1 is a decimal representing 10%. So we need to find what 10% of, which is times $120 is. And that is going to be $12. So the marked price, or the selling price, is going to be $120 plus $12, $132. Alright, so that's just the basics there. that leads us to the idea of the selling price formula. Overall, the selling price of the customer, considering GST, we can find it using the formula below, and it sort of sums up what we did above all in the one formula. The selling price is going to be the GST exclusive price, which is cost plus the markup, so the cost to the retailer plus the markup that they're making, times by 1.1. This formula can be used to find any of the variables involved by rearrangement. So if we wanted to, the questions could be finding the selling price, so use the formula as it is. You might be asked to work out what the cost of the item was in the first place, so use this formula by rearranging. Or you might be asked what the markup was, or you might just be asked what the GST exclusive price is. Using very simple algebra, you should be able to find any of those things by rearrangement. So to give you a couple of examples of that, we'll do this. An item sold to a customer for $286. The retailer made a 30% profit on this item and collected GST. Find the GST exclusive price. So this is making use of that formula. Selling price is equal to GST exclusive price times by 1.1. We know what it sold for, $286. We're trying to find the GST exclusive price, and we know what the GST was. So I need to rearrange it so GST exclusive price is by itself. How do we do that? We need to use reverse BEDMAS and opposite operations. What's annoying me here is the times by 1.1. So to remove times by 1.1, we need to divide both sides by 1.1. Timesing something by 1.1 and dividing it by 1.1 cancels that out. So what do we end up with? GST exclusive price is 286 divided by 1.1. So that one I can't do in my head, so I need to grab a calculator. 286 divided by 1.1. That is $260. B. Find the price the retailer paid for the item. So this uses the information that they made a 30% profit on the item. Okay, so what you need to remember is the percentages again and how they relate to decimals. 260 was the GST exclusive price is equal to $260, which is made up of the cost price plus the markup. We don't know what the actual markup was, we only know it was a 30% profit. So this we need to convert to a percentage. If you made a 30% profit on something, it's 130% of what it was before. So $260 is 130% of the cost price. So if we know that and we convert this statement into algebra, 260 is equal to 130% as a decimal, 1.3 times by cost price. If you notice, all I've done here is I've converted this worded statement into a purely mathematical one. 260 is means equals, 130% as a decimal is 1.3, of means times cost price. I'm trying to work out what cost price is. I need to rearrange and use algebra techniques, basic algebra techniques, to get cost price by itself. So I need to get rid of this times by 1.3. What's the opposite of timesing by 1.3? Dividing both sides by 1.3. That cancels out. So cost price is going to be whatever 260 divided by 1.3 is. So divide it by 1.3 and you get 200. So the retailer paid $200 for this thing. they made a 30% profit on that, which, if you look at that, $200, and they GST exclusive price was $260, so they made a $60 profit, and then they sold it to the customer for $286. So the difference, the remaining $26, on top of that was the GST that, yes, they get, but they collect it and send it to the ATO. So really their profit is $60 only. Alright, so hopefully that helps you out with these markup calculations and using the selling price formula, and I'll see you in the next video.